ship that I ever built in Space Engineers, the Chalmers. The Chalmers have been heavily modified later on for use with FEN. Includes slightly increased armor protection in the front of the ship to protect the control area. This ship serves as a multi-role vessel. It can be used as a corvette or as a transport. The ship lacks a jump drive, so it struggles in long range travel, but it does have the capability to latch to larger ships, such as the still unfinished Longfish, and transport it that way. The ship originally did not have connectors. The 3 connector design, and the airlock had actually been extended out on the Chalmers. It does have decent capabilities, and it has, as you can tell, it has a assembler. It has a connector for a small grid, and unlike the normal Chalmers class vessels, this one does have a gravity generator that is located in front of the connector, protected in armor. The ship handles well for sniping with its 2 artillery guns. The original Chalmers had 4 after its major refit, but the production model only has the 2, and it has 2 rocket launchers, which were as on the original version of the ship. We have a corner med bay, which differs from the rest of the Chalmers, which has a med bay that's stuck in the corner here, so you can't really see yourself changing your suit. We have weapon storage, and this thing has a ton of cargo containers, so it really does fit well as a cargo ship. It has crew capacity for 4, as it has 4 cryo chambers, and believe it or not, it has a total of 4 seats. One of them being the captain or helmsman's chair. Here, there is an air vent, and again, there are air vents here to depressurize so that there are no oxygen loss. This ship has 2 gyros as opposed to the standard's 1. It does not have a lot of H2O2 generators, but it has a decent amount to get the job done. The ship has been heavily armored over the thrusters to protect them, which came original on the ship was the parachute hatches, which are rarely ever used at all. When I was originally building, I just thought it was a necessary precaution to have them, so they're there. Battery down here by the landing gear, along with the ore detector. The antenna is covered in armor, with the only way that you can see it is back here, and you kind of can pop in here and, you know, kind of chill in the aft section of the ship and kind of crawl in through here. It's not really usable space, but you can come in here and do some minor repairs if needed in the vessel. The normal Chalmers class, this back end is all pretty much opened. But honestly, you know, kind of what inspired, you know, some of the design features of the Chalmers was Kabak and Splitsy's cockroach from Survival Unlikely. So there are a little bit of aesthetics from that, with all these Gatling guns scattered all throughout with a few interior turrets. But additions in terms of over the Cockroach are these artillery guns. The Chalmers always had the artillery guns, but the original did not have the gun sight here. This was added on later, and I believe, let me check. Yes, so when I had published the standard Chalmers, it did have that modification in, so it did have the gun sight, but as you can see, 2 artillery guns, 2 rocket launchers. It did have piston connectors, which, oh my gosh, the clang. And as you can tell, the thrusters are completely open and exposed on this version. Also, something that I did on this that was I extended the so this wasn't original to the ship, but I extended the landing legs out a couple blocks by a block, and that was to accommodate a Gatling, which is not on the standard model that is on the workshop. All the Chalmers models that still exist, they're all on the workshop, including the Mark II, which is this. Some of the armor, because of the turret, some of the armoring up here is non-existent, so these blocks can be heavily targeted and ripped to shreds. I honestly have never had a problem with that. I had a V2 gunboat slam into the rear nacelles. Well, not nacelles, the rear hydrogen tanks, literally blow this thing up, and I was still able to completely repair it. It had been completely missing like half the ship that had been completely carved out in the explosion. But it was still repairable at that time. I did have another vessel with production capabilities to allow me to completely rebuild it. And so you saw what the ship originally looked like. This is what it looked like after it was mauled into by a V2. This has actually been modified since that refit, to give it a little bit extra protection and all that. More armor plating around. It does have a Mad Vulture on the top. Typically, the Chalmers will carry a Mad Vulture to replenish supplies on board the vessel, as they are a multifunctional mining ship that can also act as a fighter or a turret, depending on the situation. But that is the Chalmers, and next on the list is the 104 Algrano, which has, once again, like the Rantham and Argyle, has a history with Keen. And we'll get into that in the next one. So you got that to look forward to, and I'm Gamer Squiggles, and I'll see you next time.